Thank you for joining us, Professor Kazuya Yamanouchi. Now, firstly, can you tell us the risks involved in BSE or mad cow disease?
Yes. BSE is a fatal neurological disease of cattle caused by BSE agent. BSE risk has three unique aspects. First, BSE is an important infectious disease of farm animals. Second, BSE can cause variant CJD in humans who consumed beef tainted with BSE agent. As variant CJD is also a fatal neurological disease, BSE raises important issues in food safety. Third, variant CJD is possibly spread among humans by blood transfusion or other routes such as brain surgery. In the United Kingdom, 2 persons are suspected of infection by transfusion of blood from donors who developed variant CJD 2 or 3 years after blood donation. Thus, BSE infection in humans may lead to iatrogenic infection. In considering BSE measures, we have to recognize these 3 aspects of BSE risks that are completely different from those by usual food-associated diseases.
Now, can you explain Japan's current safety measures of mad cow disease and give us your scientific opinion to the measures?
Yes. In Japan, safety measures are conducted on the farm and in the slaughterhouse. On the farm, the use of meat and bone meal is completely prohibited to any animal. The experiment in the United Kingdom show very small amount, such as 1 milligram of infected brain tissue, can cause BSE. If the use of meat and bone meal is allowed for pigs or chickens, it can cause cross-contamination into cattle feed. Thus, complete feed ban is essential to stop spread of BSE among cattle. In addition, we conduct surveillance on risk animals. This is to estimate the prevalence of BSE among cattle. By this surveillance, we found 5 BSE cases so far. In the slaughterhouse, blanket BSE testing and removal of specified risk materials are conducted. BSE positive cattle by blanket testing are incinerated. Thus, any part of these cattle does not enter the food chain of humans. This is a screening test, similar to the testing of donated blood for AIDS virus or hepatitis virus. However, BSE test cannot detect the cattle at the early stage of infection when the amount of BSE agent is under detection limit. This applies to any infectious disease. For instance, in case of blood testing, AIDS virus or hepatitis virus infection cannot be detected for 1 month after infection. In case of BSE, removal of specified risk materials mitigate the possible risk by such test-negative infected animals. BSE testing is conducted on the brain stem in which the highest amount of BSE agent is accumulated. Therefore, possible risk caused by contamination of meat with brain or spinal cord at slaughtering and processing in these test-negative infected animals is considered to be extremely low. Let us consider the source of BSE risk. There are 3 sources. The first is specified risk materials. The second is contamination of the meat. with specified risk materials during slaughtering and processing. The third is hitherto unknown tissues in which BSE agent is accumulated. Blanket testing eliminates all these three risks associated with test-positive cattle, as the whole body is incinerated and discarded. The removal of specified risk materials mitigate most of the risks associated with test-negative infected cattle. Through our over 3 years experience, we are confident that these two measures are highly effective in protecting the consumer's health as a fair, safe system.
Now, in Japan, the resumption of importing U.S. beef is a very big issue. How do you see the safety measures of the United States from the scientific point of view?
The issues associated with the resumption of U.S. beef import will be discussed in a PRIO expert committee in the Food Safety Commission. Therefore, I cannot say how we decide at the moment. According to my own opinion, I do not understand why United States is reluctant to screen cattle by blanket BSE testing. By blanket testing, we could overcome the lack of traceability that might have caused the social confusion in determining ages. And more importantly, we could overcome insufficient removal of specified risk materials for the first 2 years. This is the most scientifically rational measure to protect consumers' health. Surveillance and risk analysis are just estimating the prevalence of BSE on the farm. By surveillance, we found 5 BSE cases, and by blanket testing, we found 14 BSE cases so far. If we depended only on surveillance, we could not completely eliminate the risk posed by these 14 BSE cattle.
Now, the General Assembly of the World Organization of Animal Health, or OIE, held in Paris at the end of May, decided on the international safety standard for BSE. The standard included loosening the standard to 31 months or older from 13 months or older of the age of cattle and excluding specified risk materials such as the brain. In Japan, resumption of U.S. beef is a big issue among Japanese consumers. Professor, can you share us your scientific view on what the most important thing is to note for the consumers on this issue?
Yes. OIE is primarily an international organization for prevention of spread of infectious diseases of animals by international trade. Now, it also serves as an advisory organization on the food safety associated with BSE under the framework of World Trade Organization. In veterinary aspect, safety measures are based on population epidemiology. This is reflected by the fact that the BSE measures of OIE are based on surveillance and risk analysis. They do not mention the screening by BSE testing. I believe that screening of infected cattle by BSE testing is the most scientific measure to protect individual person. The effectiveness of this BSE testing in eliminating infected cattle from food chain has been proven in the European Union and Japan.
Thank you very much for your insight, Professor.
It's my pleasure.
That was Professor Kazuya Yamanouchi from the Nippon Institute for Biological Science, interviewed by Yuko Nomura.